My name is Barbara, and I was asked if I would do a video on how I put my shoes together. So I'm going to try to make it as easy and that I can. Some of you buy the already made shoe forms from Pixie Fair or Etsy, and then you get the already made foam soles. Well, I don't buy those because I make way too many pairs of shoes and it would cost me a fortune. So I make my own soles, my own forms, and my own soles. Okay? So, you have to, of course, you have to have your pattern already sewed and formed and everything. And these are the pattern pieces that I use. They're from Love You Bunches. This is for the 18 inches, and this is for the 14.5 Willy Wishers, or Heart to Hearts, or they fit a lot of other small dolls too. But they're both from Love You Bunches, and you can get them from Pixie Fair or Etsy, and they don't cost very much. Also, the foam, I have for this is for the inside, for when the doll foot touches. This is the inside, and they're on regular paper. They're thin paper, because you don't want it you don't want the whole shoe really thick. You want, and different people likes different thicknesses. I happen to like the strong thin stuff for the part that the doll's foot sits on. And so I also have my template I use to cut out. So you have to cut right in the left on the thin board, which is this right here, or right in the left. You can see that. Okay. Then I cut out the same right in the left on a thicker piece of board, like the kind that uses the flaps of a cardboard box. It's more corrugated, and it's thicker, and it's sturdier. And I also made a drawing of my template on there, and then you cut them out, and you have to have a good pair of scissors, paper scissors for the cardboard, something with some weight to them. And then you just cut as close around as possible, okay? Because you want to do less filing as possible. Speaking of filing, I get these from Walmart or any place like that, grocery stores, anything, any Joann's. I don't think Joann's has it, but anything that has, any place that sells, dollar store. This is 180 grit, okay? And I get this because it's really easy to file with the 180 grit. You're not sawing, you're just filing. But if you make sure, it's very important that you cut as close to your outline as possible, because if you do that, then you won't have to use the filer that much. You cannot file on your pieces that you cut out of the foam. Okay, so that does bring us to the foam. There's different kinds of craft foam. There's the foam that's regular. It has color on both sides, craft foam. You get them in big sheets, little sheets, whatever. And then there's the kind that has the paper on the back. Like, this is the foam, this is the paper. And this is what this is. It has paper on the back. Let's see if you can see that paper. And it peels right off. And then you can stick those to the soles, to the cardboard. Real easy. And then they have the kind that I have to use on the bottom because they don't have the sticky part. So I have to use the tacky glue for that part. All right, so let's, now, at this point, you're going to have your forms all ready to go. These are your shoe forms, and this is your shoe. I don't know if you've ever made shoes, Mary Jane's shoes, but you have two pieces together like this. I cut 4 pieces of the same shoe because you need 2 per shoe. Then you then you put your pieces backwards, like they face each other. Then you sew. I'm sure all of you know how to do this. You sew around the horseshoe-like thing, okay? So once it's sewed, it's going to open like this, all the way around. So then you just open it up on itself. Got to face itself, like that. And then you're going to sew this part right along here, like this. So now it's going to have an opening. So you're going to open it up onto itself like this, where the creases are. And this is a little Willy Wisher one. This is a 14.5-inch one, so it's kind of small to work with, but try to give you an idea. Okay, so you opened it up, and now the seam line is inside, and it's right there on the top. See, on the top, right there. Now sometimes people goes around and they sew the tops. I don't. What I do is I crease the tops, make them real sturdy, and you do that with an iron. These ones are so small that the big house iron might be too big, and you just go and you, where this crease, the big crease is in the back, you just make sure you just want to, all you're doing is you're just creasing along the top, because that way it wants to lay down and behave, so to speak. Okay, so anyways, you just take your iron and then you just crease it all the way around. Okay. Now, it's gonna look like this, like this. Now it's all creased, and then we go and we sew it underneath the machine all the way around the edges, just so you can see all the way around. And then you take your scissors and you're going to clip little clips, little slices all the way around the seam line. Now some people, before you do that step, some people likes to take them and open them up like this and trim off the bottom piece, but that's just too much trouble, so I don't do that. Now, you got your forms done. They're all done and ready to go. Okay? So now we are all done with our forms. Put them over here. Now, you have to have a model. You have to have feet. You have to have doll feet. I had an old doll that was so bad and terrible that I just took apart. So now I have the feet, okay? Then you need a right and a left foot. Sometimes it's hard, but if you're sitting in a chair, you can stick these, I know it's gonna look funny, guys, but you can stick your feet in between your legs like this, and then it's a little guide, okay? But I'm gonna hold it up so you can see. I just anchor it down in between my legs like this, and then that way I can put it on. But I'm going to hold it up for you so you can see. So you take the form. Now this is going to be the right foot. So you're going to take the form. You're going to put it on first, like this. And there's a seam in the back. So make sure that that seam is on the heel part, right there. Okay? And then you take your form and you put it on there. But before you do that, you got to make sure that your form is stuck. So I'm taking the paper part off of these, putting them on like so, taking the other paper off, putting them on like so. Now you gotta, this is the part that the doll's foot's gonna sit on. Now this part, you have to put tacky glue on the sole, otherwise, and you don't want a whole lot, you just want enough to cover. I just put it on like it's a paintbrush, like that, just barely put it on. You don't have to, it does not take very much. You take your form and you put it on your cardboard like so. Now you're gonna have to let that set for a minute or two, because so that the glue will stay on, so it won't roll off, because it will slide. Make sure that you have your right and your left, because many times I've had to take them apart because I don't know my right from my left, believe me. Really time consuming and aggravating. So you have to really pay attention to your right and your left, right and your left. So I always put them together, right and left, like that. And that way I know that I'm going to grab the right, I'm going to grab the left. Okay, so now that they're on there, back to the shoe, make sure that the crease is in the back. Take your fingers, pull it up, make sure that the sole line is just above the heel. You take your form that you already got glued to your cardboard, make sure it's the right, okay, and then you make sure that it's all the way around. I don't know if you can see, my lighting here is just awful today. All the way around. Okay, and I use hot glue. I use the low temp because my fingers don't need to be glued, burned. And it's easier to use the low temp than it is the hot. So I use the low temp. And then what I do, okay, let's see if I can fix this. I put the glue on the heel part, just on the heel. My lighting is terrible. I don't know what to do. Anyways, I hope you guys can see this, because my lighting is just terrible. Okay, do you see that? I keep playing with this lady. Okay, and then I go to the front of the toes. I make sure that the stitching is just above the cardboard. And I just put a little bit on the front part. And then I just go all the way around. Make sure you don't, try not to have too many creases, because believe me, you'll see them. Okay? So it's glued here and here. Then I just go back around to the sides and I just pull it on there. Try not to crease it as much as possible. And then I go on the other side and try to do the same thing. I know I'm flipping it around a lot, trying to get it where you guys can see it. Hot glue, put it on there. Sometimes the toes needs a little extra around the toes area, so you can put some hot glue on there. And I did crease a little. A lot of that is forgiving, especially if you have you're going to have a band around the bottom, trimming or whatever you want to call it, ribbon, whatever. So anyways, there's her shoe. Okay, Now we're going to put the bottom sew on, because obviously she ain't going to go walking around town like that. So we're going to put the bottom sew on. So here it is. Here's the right one, and it's the thicker cardboard. That's the bottom part. That's the part she's going to walk on. Take the glue, go all the way around the edge of the material that you just put on there, all the way, and I put a little strip in the middle for good measure. I take the bottom part, the cardboard part, and I stick it on there, just like that. Make sure that it's take it off the doll if you want, if it's easier, or you can leave it on, whichever is easy for you. I sometimes leave it on, I sometimes take it off, depends on how much it wants to give me troubles. Okay, now that's what it looks like. All right, now we're going to do the other one, so you have to have the other foot. It's real important. The feet makes a big difference. You can't just make shoes without having a model. You have to have the right and you have to have the left. You can use any doll feet that you want. I just happen to use these because they're mobile and I can move them around wherever I want. And when you tip the doll upside down, sometimes their hair gets all messed up, so you got to be careful. So always use a doll that you don't care if the hair gets messed up. So just got to put these back on, make sure that the crease is in the back just like you did on the first one. Put the part you walk on, the thin cardboard. Make sure that the stitching is above the cardboard, just above it, because if you don't, then it won't look right. And you want it to look fairly like the other one. No two shoes are going to be the same, just so you know. It is not going to happen. There's no way. Unless you are a perfect person on how you do it, there's no way that you're going to get two the same. One's going to be a little different than the other. It's just, I have two different feet. One, my right foot is like way bigger than the left foot for some reason. I don't know, I think it's how you use them. But anyways, no two feet are the same. So you're not going to have two shoes the same. Although these dolls' feet are the same. But you're not going to make them the same. Okay, anyways. All right, so now I'm going to do it this way on the front. Put it on the front. Sometimes you have to stretch them on there. Don't be afraid. You're not going to hurt the doll. Hot glue sometimes can be real messy, real stringy. Takes me sometimes forever just to get it off of me. All right, now we're going to put the bottom part on, and I'll take it off the foot so you can see. Okay, so we got all of the material around the thin cardboard. And now some people will take their template or their bottom or the top piece of the cardboard, the part that the doll stands on, and they'll take the material and wrap the material around the doll to match. Foam is so much easier for me. I don't have time for all that extra cutting and stuff, so I just use the foam. Foam is so much better. Okay, so now we're going to put glue all the way around the edge of the material, down the middle. Stick this sucker on there. like that. Make sure it's on even. You don't want it being too big, sticking out too far in the front, sticking out too far in the back. You just want it to be on there as even as you can. Now you don't have to use hot glue. I prefer hot glue because it's easier for me to use. Now some people has a hard time with hot glue, so they'd rather use the tacky glue. And what the tacky glue will do for you is it will allow you to move the material around easier, so you don't have creases if you don't want it to have creases. Like if you don't want this thick bottom piece, you just want a thinner piece, then I would suggest you use the tacky glue. I like the thicker bottom. It gives the doll, if the doll's a little weak-legged, it gives the doll a little bit of stability to stand up. Anyways, that's what I found out. My personal preference is, anyways. Okay, now, trim. There's all kinds of different trims out there. There's, I don't know if you can see this. There's this is kind of like a braid trim. And you could put anything that'll fit on there. Some people puts ribbon. Some people puts, I don't know what that, rickrack or whatever that stuff is called. And there's people who puts like the trim that you would put on clothes. I guess you can put that on clothes too, but anyways, you could take the same kind of trim that she was going, and you could put it on there. I prefer the white. It goes with everything. So that's what I use, and I buy it by the big roll because I use a lot of it. Now on the smaller dolls, it might be a little big, so you can probably use a different, I think this is 3/4. I think that there's like a 1/4 size that you can use for the little dolls. I like to even it off as much as possible. It's kind of hard because this is braided, and the more you cut, the more it wants to unravel. So I take a lighter, barely singe it, just barely singe it on the thing. And then I take where the seam is, I put a little bit of glue. And then I take the trim and I put it all wherever I put the glue. And I make sure that it's on there. Then I go ahead and wrap it around, all the way around until I know how much I need. And then I clip it off and do the same thing with the lighter, just barely touch it. And some trims are easier to use. I just don't have the easy stuff. I always have the hard stuff. All right. Now you want to make sure you don't get it underneath the thing because the doll doesn't want to stand up too good. So, and then hot glue it all the way around. It's all the way around. And then these are a pair that I did earlier, and did the same kind of trim, did them the same way, and that's how you do them. Okay, I hope that helped. Let me know if you have any questions, if this video was helpful, and all that good stuff. Thank you.